Hello, everyone. Welcome to this laser coach session by Real Wealth Ranching. My name is Jim Elizondo, and our goal in Real Wealth Ranching is to maximize your profitability while you improve your land the fastest. Today, we have James from Australia on this laser coach. And James, please introduce yourself and tell us a little about your operation and what you would like to address.
Thanks, Jim. Yes, I'm from, got a new farm in the central west of New South Wales. It's on the banks of the Lachlan River. We have about 1,100 acres there. Half the farm is outside a levee bank and floods, and the last year's been a very wet year. And there've been a couple of occasions where that flood country has we've had quite a bit of water over it. So this is a new farm, as I said. We're looking to set it up so that we can do the total grazing and get quite a bit of stock density on the place. The issue we're having is I'm not sure how to fence this flood country because it's quite an irregular shape and there's lots of drains and gutters that run through it. So I look forward to hearing what Jim has to say.
Sure. It says here that it's a very run-down block, but has deep alluvial soils and it's on the bank of a river. So that makes the soil potentially very productive. Your average rainfall is 550 millimeters, fairly evenly distributed through the year. And the flood country has lots of phalaris, which is a cool season grass. And there is an annual warm season grass there, but we don't know what it is. Is it palatable? Do cows like it?
Well, I haven't got any stock on there yet, Jim, so I'm not sure. It looks quite good, but I'm not sure what it is yet.
Wide leaves or narrow leaves?
Quite narrow leaves, and the flower looks a little bit like a millet flower, but it's much smaller.
Oh, that's interesting. Okay. The stock water comes from a bore. That means a well, and there are very few existing fences. That's great. The farm is basically a blank canvas, and I want to set it up for total grazing. Then you continue to say, what is your number one challenge in your operation? Setting up the farm to allow total grazing. You have dry country available during a flood, and you want to do fencing around the river bends and drains in the flood country. So you're asking, how do I fence this irregular-shaped flood country in order to allow total grazing to be carried out? Okay, so I'm going to give you my take on this. I have been in this situation in Tallahassee, Florida, in the United States, with Lake Jackson, which will go up and flood large areas close to the lake. And we had higher land where we could take the cattle to. So in a flood-prone plain like you have, which is around half the property, maybe a little more, it's a use it or lose it. You cannot stockpile grass there, as it will be maybe flooded out and then you don't get to gain up from it. So it's something that, due to being alluvial, it will be very high quality. Grass growth can be explosive, and you should use it as much as possible before it gets flooded. The way to fence it, it's explained in the course also, but the way to fence it should be with polybraid, doing rectangular shaped paddocks that go to the water, all the way to where the river is. And because you told me that you have some times to prepare before you get flooded, maybe 3 days to a week before that you get notice of that it's coming, you can take off the temporary fences and move the cattle out. before the flood actually comes. Then you tell me that it takes from 3 days to a week for the water to subside. So that means that your grass should not be killed by this type of flooding, and it will not be covered by a meter of sand like in other places. So that makes it a very good property, because when there is a drought, your grass will keep growing in that alluvial plain. When the high country, grass will grow much slower or not grow. And that gives you an advantage, as long as you have a place to put your cows in when it gets flooded. Doing total grazing means harvesting more of what is there per grazing event. This allows you to stockpile other areas of your property so they can grow taller and produce stronger, fatter, deeper roots and higher energy reserves in crowns and roots. So in your case, I would graze more of the alluvial plain when it's possible to allow more of your higher land paddocks to grow stronger roots. So when you actually need to go there because it's flooded, you can go there, and then you go back once it drains down and the good stuff starts to come back up again. That would be the easiest way. I would do permanent fences as explained, one wire, high tensile electric fences as explained in the Total Grazing course in the higher portion of your land that doesn't get flooded. And then it's very easy to subdivide with polybrate so you can do the total grazing correctly with the least amount of effort. But in the where it can get flooded, you can play with it. You can make corridors so you can move your cattle around and fast when needed. And from there, all with polybrake, it's only 200 hectares, so it's easy to do. Polybrake conducts electricity much better than polywire and lasts 4 times longer, and it costs around twice, so it's cost effective. You need to put your energizer where your cattle are so the chock is powerful with good enough and ground rods, as explained in the Total Grazing course. If you wish to enroll, there is the link where you can do it, and I will be happy to answer all your questions there. And it's something that is very well explained and yours to keep for life. So you can go back and refer to it many times. But back to the property in South New Wales. That is the best way. And you will get the best results with the less expending effort. And you will, that's a very good property, having some parts that flood and some that don't. That's my experience. Okay, well, thank you all and see you in the next laser course session.